Welcome back, team. Recently, my team has received Deloitte interview having post of GRC lead, which requires experience between 5 to 8 years. They had consolidated the interviews questions and further shared to me, so that I can further share to you so that you guys took benefits for these questions. So, what are these questions asked in that interview? Let's start from the next slide. This is the first question they have asked. What is your day-to-day responsibilities as a GRC analyst? That means what is your regular routine when you enter in the office and what's your priority of work? They want to know your roles and responsibility on day to day. Next questions was classification of data. For example, confidential, private, public, and internal. They need how confident you are while differentiating the data transiting within organization. Controls, how many controls are there in 2022 version of ISO 01? Very important. A recent question. Under which control data kept secure under rest and transit mode? This question is very tricky. Question number 4. Under which control data kept secure under rest and transit mode? I will provide answers in the next session. In this session, I had only consolidated all the questions whatever asked in that session. Coming to the next slide, next questions. A banking client comes to you with ISO certificate getting expiry. How do you help? Very important. Experienced ISO question. ISO certificate is going to expire. Okay, BFSI sector is your client. They come to you. How do you help in this regard? Next question. How do you assess the organization as an external auditor? What are the steps? Step number 1, step number 2. They need to, they need to know what is the process you are following as an external auditor when you got an opportunity to audit the external organizations. What is the process? What is the SOP? How confident you are when you got an opportunity to do the audit, external audit? How do you frame policies in your organization? Very important. This question relates to GRC. Since this interview belongs to GRC, so most of the questions are related to the GRC. Difference between SOC 1 SOC 2 report. This question is a bit different and not comes actually under a GRC, but to test your knowledge they may ask. GDPR ISO difference. I already had made this video what is the difference between GDPR and ISO and in which continent both are used. How do you encrypt the data? Very important. Explain NIST framework and ISO certifications. What are the differences? NIST framework, where it's being used, and ISO certifications, what are the terminologies actually used. So you need to know the differences and explain to interviewer. Question number 12. How do you assess the risk ID, risk description, risk category, and likelihood? This question is a bit different because they are asking about the risk ID, risk description, risk category, and likelihood. Spelling of likelihood is wrong, no problem. LIKLIHWT is the right one. Risk ID they are asking. See, risk ID is an unique code which is given to every risk associated with the organization. So risk ID may vary according to organization, right? So you may ask that's a risk ID varies organization to organization. So this is not fixed. We have been provided RCM, risk control matrix, from where we have to generate the risk ID. Or since with respect to risk description already an identity map to that, we simply take reference of that ID in our risk register. Okay, risk category. Risk category means critical, medium, high, low, something like that. Likelihood and consequences. Explain to interviewer. What is SOA? How will you create these? SOA. What is SOA? SOA is related to the ISO. SOA is a statement of applicability. That means how many controls are there in organization. Okay, what is the applicability of controls you need to explain, and how will you create this? Interview wants to know. BCPDR, how you calculate the downtime. BCPDR, business continuity planning, disaster recovery. How will you calculate the downtime? By taking RPO and RTO. RPO, RTO. Okay. Recovery point objective and recovery time objective are the two backbones related to controls in BCP-DR, from where we can measure the downtime. Okay. Can you explain the IR in DR? What is IR? IR is the incident response. How will you explain incident response in DR? Example. During shifting of business continuity from primary data center to secondary data center, if incidents happen, how will you respond? How will you respond to that interview, that disaster? So this question is related to that perspective. Requirement of PCI. PCI is not uh, actually related to GRC, but if your organization relates to BFSI sector, who is store processing or transiting the card details, then PCI-DSS becomes mandatory. What is the requirement of PCI-DSS? Explain. So these are the certain questions. 5 to 7 years of experience for GRC lead for organization Deloitte. You may prepare according to this. I will post more interviews questions which team will share in future, then I will definitely provide it to you so that you guys to benefits. If you need answers of these questions, kindly do comment, because I am assuming that these are very basic questions, and already most of the questions I already had been published the videos. And also, if you want to connect over these questions or interview preparation, let me know. My email ID is rajveersingh@gmail.com or rajveersinghaug@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.